Ahsoka, Episode 5. The World Between Worlds. Hayden Christensen returns as Anakin Skywalker. Purgils. Ahsoka the White. Is this the greatest Star Wars episode ever? Has Dave Filoni saved the Star Wars franchise?
Sure.
Maybe we should just slow it down just a bit. Just a bit. This week I did not get to do the live watch with Wookie Be Bad and the Fractured Filter on Wednesday night because I was actually on vacation for once. Got to enjoy a very pleasant week in Scotland. But that does not mean I did not get to see, again, another great episode of Ahsoka. Which honestly I can summarize very quickly in a recap. In the last episode, Ahsoka died. She fell in the water. She then appeared to go to the world between worlds, but while she's slowly drowning over the course of 30 minutes somehow, she has a fever dream, a vision of some sort, where she imagines a lesson being taught to her by Anakin Skywalker, Hayden Christensen returning. She learns apparently a lesson of some sort. The exact lesson, I'm not certain. She's rescued out of the water by Hera, Carson, and I guess two other X-Wings that survived. And then we spend the last 20 minutes of the TV show, slowly thinking about how to get to the galaxy, wherever Thrawn and possibly Ezra are at, which means, yeah, it's Dave Filoni. Time to call in those Purgils. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole episode. 42 odd minutes, which probably could have been done in all of 5 minutes. I'm going to do something a little different. I'm still enjoying the after effects of having a nice, pleasant vacation in Scotland. Scotland, the land where several Star Wars luminaries are from, of course. Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, his uncle, Dennis Lawson, famous for playing Wedge Antilles, Ian McDermott, Sheev Palpatine, the Emperor. And of course, in this series, David Tennant, playing Hu Yang, but of course, better known to science fiction fans as the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor, by the way, if anyone's interested.
I'm actually going to talk about things I liked in this episode, which is really strange. I did find things that I liked in this episode. First off, primarily, Hayden Christensen. I thought he did a fine job of portraying Anakin Skywalker. We really got to see a good interaction between him and the young actress who's playing Ahsoka. Again, the young actress playing Ahsoka, whose name I forgot. I know she played the young version of Gamora in Avengers Infinity War. I thought she did a good job playing Ahsoka. I like seeing Hayden Christensen. I thought he fell back into the role very, very well. I thought his character matched both what we saw in Clone Wars, even though he didn't play the character in Clone Wars, and the character we saw in the two prequel movies where he was playing Anakin. One of the things I really liked was his lightsaber use. It felt like Anakin. You could tell that like the muscle memory came back. He remembered the lessons he learned when he was training with Nick Gillard, the stunt coordinator who created the fighting scenes for all the prequels. The dynamic lightsaber fights we saw in the prequels, very different from what we're seeing now. And you could tell also the young actress playing Ahsoka, she more matched how young Ahsoka fought with lightsabers. You saw her first fighting just with a single saber, and you saw her fighting with two sabers. And during those scenes, she was very energetic, very athletic. That's a stark distinction from what we see Rosario Dawson play. And again, I know I've talked about it before. I don't know if I like Rosario Dawson just fine. She's been good in the role she's played, but I don't know if she's good for this role. I know that Ahsoka's an older character now than she was. At the same time, we can recall that Qui-Gon Jinn, who was in his 60s, was much more energetic. Then we kind of see Ahsoka, Rosario playing Ahsoka. I don't know if Rosario's just not trained properly and how to do proper sword fighting. It's clear that they're preferring her to use just a single saber as opposed to the double sabers, probably because she hasn't had enough training to do it. Her combat with Anakin is greatly distinguished, I think, from the combat we see with the young version of Ahsoka. Uh, Anakin and the younger version are much faster. Hayden Christensen is using his saber more like he did in the prequels. But when we see him fight with Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, it's slowed down. It seems more like he's waiting for her to take an action before he strikes. Again, I think that just distracts from the quality of the swordsmanship and the overall quality of what we should be expecting from a Lucasfilm Star Wars TV show or movie. The other thing that I thought was good about the flashback sequences to the Clone Wars was, and again, this is my interpretation, it's almost like they recognized they needed to keep things cloudy. There's a lot of smoke in these scenes. That covers up the bad effects. We all know this is being done in the volume again. We all know that all the clone troopers are most likely CGI generated, and sometimes that doesn't turn out that well. But I think, the cloudiness, it makes sense now. The fogginess, the lack of focus, the blurriness, it works for what's being done. That's why I think these scenes are effective. I really like the way that they stopped doing the bad de-aging on Hayden Christensen from the last episode, where his face looked like someone smoothed over some pale clay. This looks like Hayden Christensen, more in line with what they did in the Kenobi series. We all know Hayden's in his mid-40s. They're not spending the type of money they did with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny to de-age him the way they did Harrison Ford. But he now looks like Hayden Christensen again. You get the emotion coming off the face that you did not see at the end of the last episode. One more thing I actually liked is they finally acknowledge the existence of a significant character in Rebels, Kanan Jarrus. Yes, we're actually told finally that Jason Syndulla, Hera's child, is the child of Kanan Jarrus, a Jedi Knight. A fact that has been left out this entire time, which, people who've watched this, Star Wars Rebels, will know that. But people who don't will not know that. There's pieces missing, and that's part of what I think is a failing overall of this show. Otherwise, that's about it overall for this episode. The few minutes we get to see Hayden Christensen return as Anakin, really doing a good job as that character again. The young Ahsoka, that's about it. Otherwise, it's a waste of an episode. Again, 5 to 7 minutes, you could have gotten the point across. But we have to bring out our member berries. We have to jangle a couple keys to make everyone think this is the greatest episode ever. So what kind of sucks? I already brought it up before, the lightsaber battles between Anakin and Ahsoka. And this is not the good stuff that we saw with the young Ahsoka. This is Rosario Dawson. I could repeat it, but we already know. It's slow, it's plotting, it's not really playing into the way Jedi should fight, or even non-Jedi, or at least people trained by Jedi. It's just not Ahsoka.
I'm here to finish your training. One is never too old to learn, Snips.
What is the point of the lesson? What is Ahsoka learning in this dream? I think it's pretty clear this is not the world between worlds. You don't just magically fall into the world between worlds. I think this is a dream of hers, a near-death experience she has where she decides on her own that she's kind of getting her Force Jedi groove back or whatever. In her mind, she works out whatever issues she had and decides now I'm going to be a badass again. I guess I wasn't a badass for a bit. Now I'm going to be badass. So we go from Ahsoka, I guess, doubting herself, being slow and plotting, to being, badass Ahsoka. Yeah, it's Ahsoka the White. And we all know where that comes from. That is clearly a J.R.R. Tolkien reference to Gandalf, because now we're equating Ahsoka with Gandalf.
And I come back to you now, at the turn of the tide.
Ahsoka was never meant to be this significant of a character, in my opinion. In fact, if you look at it, this is called the Skywalker Saga. All 9 movies, even those crappy sequels, it's the Skywalker Saga. So Skywalker is a significant character. Anakin and Luke. Ahsoka is an apprentice of a Skywalker, but they're trying to make her the next legacy character. Why? Because we're erasing all the proper Skywalkers. We are erasing Anakin because in her dream, she defeats Anakin. Yeah, it can only happen in her dream. She'd never do it in real life. We all know that. Anakin was a superior sword fighter. He was a superior force user. He was her Jedi master. He was her teacher. And there's no evidence she ever surpassed her teacher.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Luke Skywalker, why do we care about him anymore? He's some hermit that lives on an island, throws away lightsabers left and right. The proper inheritor, of course, of the Skywalker legacy is Ahsoka. At least that's how this makes it out to be. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. It kind of detracts from the overall story. You know, also it detracts. Filoni's favorite Deus Ex Machina. Deus Ex Purgil. Purgil Ex Machina? I don't know. How do we solve conundrums in Dave Filoni's universe? Space whales. Yeah, that's right. Purgils. So Ahsoka spends the last 20 minutes of this episode after, transforming into Ahsoka the White. Hey, where'd those clothes come from? Where'd they come from? Were they just on her ship? Was she waiting for her to have her own revelation? She goes, oh, wait, now I can wear my white clothes because I've had some mental breakthrough. Did she buy them somewhere? I don't know. Everyone goes to Tatooine. Maybe she bought them on Tatooine. She's at some little kiosk and says, God, those are some sharp looking white clothes. I'm going to buy those for whenever I get over my depressive funk that I guess I'm in for some reason. And then when I come badass again, I'm going to start wearing these white clothes. Yeah, so I'm just going to keep them in the back of my ship here. And when I make my mental breakthrough, I'm going to wear them. What?
Are you being serious right now, Brad?
Purgils. Back to the Purgils. Purgils are the key to everything. Ahsoka decides to communicate with the Purgils because now she apparently has the ability to communicate with the animals, kind of like Ezra did. Again, Ahsoka's getting all sorts of powers of all sorts of Jedi. She's able to read the remnants of the Golden Snitch and figure out what happened to Sabine and the Shin and Balin and Morgan have gone off to find Thrawn in the other galaxy just by reading the Golden Snitch, which, I'm fine with that as a Jedi ability, but Ahsoka never displayed it before. But again, she's now Ahsoka the White. She has every power. She can also communicate with the Purgils, which is what she does. Amazingly, she's standing somewhere in the atmosphere on the hull of her ship with a very light breeze. I just, like I said, flew back from Scotland, 38,000 feet, very chilly outside, very windy outside. I don't think I'd be standing on the wing of the plane, even if it was just floating there, but I'm not Ahsoka the White. So she communicates and does I'm going to go to my other favorite genre, Star Trek. And she does a Vulcan mind meld of sorts with the big old Purgil.
Pain.
Yeah, this whole thing is pain. And she decides to hitch a ride on a Purgil. In a Purgil, rather. Ship flies in, and we get this long, drawn-out scene with the Purgils flying past the Republic fleet. Again, why is the Republic fleet there? I guess Hera broke command chain by taking 5 X-Wing as opposed to the entire fleet. You wonder why the New Republic fell? Because their management sucks. Command structure sucks. Jeez. We're then treated to a scene which is, I'm not certain how to describe it. I guess Dave Filoni is imagining his Purgils inseminating the galaxy. Somewhere there's some giant space ova waiting for all the Purgils to fly by and make their connection in a giant galactic birth. It's a very long, drawn-out scene, which I guess is supposed to feel dramatic and everything because of all the swelling music. But again, this whole thing could have been taken care of in a 5 to 7 minute sequence. Instead, we got 42 minutes. The only good thing is seeing Hayden again. That's it. That was his whole episode.
Waste of time.
This is the greatest Star Wars episode ever, apparently. Ahsoka the White has finally presented herself. We're traveling to another galaxy via Purgle. I know. I'm an old guy. I go back to my original trilogy. I like the way it used to be. Maybe I'm just old and just not accustomed to new things. Or maybe I'm just recognizing this show kind of sucks. Like a lot of other people. Could have been done probably in a 2-hour movie. Not that anyone would go see it. Why? Because no one knows these characters. Only people who watch Rebels know these characters. And that's not enough to make a movie. So that's why it's relegated to TV. We're also probably not a lot of people watching it. But you know what? I'm going to keep watching it because, again, I guess I'm a masochist for this type of stuff. And I want to point out where my beloved franchise is going wrong. So, again, watch Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where myself, Wookie Be Bad, and the Fracture Filter do our live watch together and enjoy a struggle session and stress and freak out and just bitch and moan, because that's what us old nerds like to do. Otherwise, you can like my channel, you can subscribe to my channel, share my channel, hit the notifications. Look, you guys know how the buttons work. Just click them if you like it. Leave a comment. Sometimes I'll respond back. As I say, questions, comments, witticisms. You know what to do. See you next time.